The concession comes amid President Trump being allowed back on Twitter, and yet it is somehow still not good enough for his detractors, and they keep coming out and saying, well, he didn't concede hard enough. So we will talk a bit about that. The D.C. Capitol Police chief resigns amid the violence, and so does half of the cabinet. So we'll talk a bit about what's going on there. Democrats call for the 25th Amendment and still look for an impeachment even after the concession. So we'll talk a bit about what's going on there. Plus, a little bit of Biden cabinet news and a little bit of stupidity coming up out of the federal prison system. And I will read the names and thank everybody who chatted in the live chat this week. I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Contemporary. My name is Jay Edgar. We got the concession. I saw the video. I'm going to play the video here, talk a little bit about what the reaction is, but they're still pissed. It doesn't matter. I mean, like I said, the guy could cure cancer and give everybody $1 million into their pocket, taking it straight from the billionaires and not printing it, and they'd still be mad. It's going to be all of that and more today, but before we get into anything, head on over to freedomscoop.com. Freedomscoop.com is going to be your one-stop shop for all of your news and commentary needs. Excuse me, just a second. Cold season, I guess. Maybe it got a little something going on in the back of the nose again. Sorry about that. We have great shows such as The Daily Ignoramus, The Breakdown with Birkenhoff, The Generational Gap, The Already Conservative, and The Freckles and Brit Show. Come on over there, pick up some of our swag, and help us support great creators as we try to rebuild our infrastructure to make sure that another 40,000 person hit all at once doesn't take our website completely down. I'm still proud of that, by the way. All right, let's talk just a bit about what's going on in the markets. At the end of the day, everything stayed the same there. Looks like the markets jumped up right at the beginning, about 11 o'clock in the morning, and stayed there, sustained throughout the entire day. The Dow Jones hit 31,000 throughout the day, and it closed up 0.69%. So, I mean, some of this could be inflated, some of this could be trying to come out and say, oh, well, we got a Democrat, and the Democrat's going to fix the economy. After seeing the other numbers that are showing faith in the American dollar, I don't know how much I buy this chart anymore, but I'm still going to continue to read it every day, just to kind of give us a gauge as to where the investors think the economy is going to go. Let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin took another massive jump yesterday. Now we're sitting at $41,294.80 on the US dollar for Bitcoin. So, do you have your Bitcoin yet? I don't yet, and I feel dumb. Because I should have done some of this when Spartan said 31,000. Even if I just get a little teeny tiny percent, what I can get for $40. That'd be $70 right now in US dollars. So, a couple things to look at with that. Let's keep going here. From IBD. Dow Jones futures rise despite stock market rally warning signs. Tesla unveils much cheaper Model Y. From Ed Carson. Dow Jones futures rose modestly early Friday morning along with S&P 500 futures and NASDAQ futures ahead of Friday's jobs report. Micron Technology earnings, Taiwan Semiconductor sales, a Boeing 737 MAX settlement, and a new lower-priced Model Y were in focus. The stock market rally had a powerful session, with the Dow Jones, S&P 500 Index, NASDAQ Composite, and Russell 2000 all hitting record highs. But there are signs that the market rally is getting extended. Tesla continued to soar on Thursday on yet another price target hike, making Elon Musk the richest man in the world. But is Tesla stock getting extended? Late Thursday, Tesla listed a Model Y standard range option, something CEO Elon Musk said would never be offered. A 7-seat Model Y option is now available as well. Tesla stock kept running higher Friday morning, along with China EV rival NIO. Micron earnings topped views, while the memory chip maker also guided high after rallying to its best level since 2000. Micron stock rose modestly overnight. Micron earnings should be good news for other memory plays, including equipment giants Lam Research, Applied Materials, and KLA Corp. LRCX stock, AMAT, and KLA have been surging this week, perhaps in anticipation of a bullish Micron earning. Taiwan Semiconductor, a major customer for Lam Research, Applied Materials, and KLA early Friday reported December sales rose 13.6% versus a year earlier in Taiwanese dollars, after November sales rallied 15.7% for the full year. Revenue grew 25.2% next week. Earnings are on tap. Taiwan Semiconductor is expected to announce heavy capital spending. TSM stock rose nearly 3% early Friday after rallying 5% Thursday to a new high. On the futures, Dow futures rose 0.35% versus fair value, S&P 500 futures climbed 0.3%, and NASDAQ futures advanced 0.5%. Dow futures will likely move on the December jobs report due at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, which it looked like was a loss in jobs coming up. I've already seen a little bit ahead of that, so probably talk a bit about that on Monday, because that's going to be the next thing that MSNBC wants to talk about, is how bad Donald Trump fucked the economy. Bitcoin surged above 41,000 after clearing 40,000 briefly on Thursday. Bitcoin has been going almost vertical in the past few weeks because they keep printing money left and right. Remember that overnight action in Dow futures and elsewhere doesn't necessarily translate into actual trading in the next regular stock market session. All right, I got one here from Yahoo Stocks. This is a little bit of a live updater, so we'll take probably just a couple pointers from this. Stock market news live update. Stock futures rise ahead of December jobs report from Emily McCormick. Stock futures pointed to a higher open on Friday morning as investors look ahead to another batch of expected stimulus under a unified Democratic government. And awaited the results of the December jobs report. I mean, if they're going to brag about how they're going to destroy the U.S. dollar, take them at their word, I guess. No, I'll save that for the live video. I want to talk just a bit about economic preparations, but I'm going to do it in either a dedicated live stream or a solo video. So look forward to that coming up in the near future. Contracts on the Dow gained more than 70 points, or 0.2%, and those on the NASDAQ and S&P 500 also ticked up, with about 2 hours left until the opening bell. The moves early Friday came after a rally in equity markets a day earlier, with each of the three major indices rising to record intraday and closing highs. Bitcoin prices held well above 40,000, and U.S. crude oil prices buoyed over $51 a barrel. Keep in mind your gas is going to go up in the next probably 6 to 12 months, and it's not going to be a small amount. Equity investors, once concerned about the prospects of a unified Democratic government, have increasingly warmed to the political backdrop now solidified after the Georgia Senate runoff this week. The current composition of Congress has increased the odds of virus relief stimulus advancing in the near term. Many have noted, not to mention the fact that all of their big business, big Democrat buddies now hold the government once again and can give them all kickbacks. So we will see what happens up off of that. The Senate election results also peeled away another layer of uncertainty for the markets, allowing traders to move forward with conviction in their investment plans, others said. So we'll see what happens up off the Dow here. I can't predict this one because there is enough reason right now to believe that it's either going to tank or rise. And it's about a 50-50 shot right now, so we will see what happens off of that. All right, let's listen to the speech that was heard round the world. Throw the ears on and let's do this.
I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. America is and must always be a nation of law and order. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay. We have just been through an intense election, and emotions are high. But now tempers must be cooled and calm restored. We must get on with the business of America. My campaign vigorously pursued every legal avenue to contest the election results. My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote. In so doing, I was fighting to defend American democracy. I continue to strongly believe that we must reform our election laws to verify the identity and eligibility of all voters and to ensure faith and confidence in all future elections. Now Congress has certified the results. A new administration will be inaugurated on January 20th. My focus now turns to ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power. This moment calls for healing and reconciliation. 2020 has been a challenging time for our people. A menacing pandemic has upended the lives of our citizens, isolated millions in their homes, damaged our economy, and claimed countless lives. Defeating this pandemic and rebuilding the greatest economy on earth will require all of us working together. It will require a renewed emphasis on the civic values of patriotism, faith, charity, community, and family. We must revitalize the sacred bonds of love and loyalty that bind us together as one national family. To the citizens of our country, serving as your president has been the honor of my lifetime. And to all of my wonderful supporters, I know you are disappointed, but I also want you to know that our incredible journey is only just beginning. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you. God bless you. God bless America. The greatest America. Okay, I made the greatest America. But, I mean, the concession, and you knew it was going to come at some point here. After the certification of everything else, plus, I'm pretty positive he's been backed into a corner off of this one. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on with the cabinet and what they're trying to come out and say. To try and say, okay, well, we're going to impeach again. There's a little bit of caged animal effect to this. I would probably admit to saying that as well, but of course, this wasn't good enough. And you see the MSNBC logo up there because we'll be talking just a bit about what's going on with that as well. And you know that Maddow is going to say something that's dumb. But let's keep going off of that. From CNBC, Trump acknowledges election result in first tweet after ban lifted. From Lahren Feiner. President Donald Trump shared his first message on Twitter since being locked out of his account following Wednesday's riot at the U.S. Capitol. Trump shared a video message that was close to a concession speech, as the public has heard from him, acknowledging a new administration would soon take over and urging calm. Trump said he had pursued every legal avenue to the election. While he said he believes the election laws must be reformed, he recognized Congress had certified the results and that there would be a transition of power. Now tempers must be cooled and calm restored. We must get on with the business of America, Trump said. A new administration will be inaugurated on January 20th. My focus now turns to ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power. This moment calls for healing and reconciliation. Trump also condemned the rioters who stormed the U.S. Capitol Wednesday as lawmakers finalized the tally, representing Joe Biden's victory in the presidential election. And yet, Joe Biden has still not disavowed Antifa. Makes you wonder. I'm just joking. He doesn't know what Antifa is. He barely knows which shoe goes on the right foot. Trump also condemned the rioters who... Oh, I read that one already. To those engaged of acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And those who broke the law, you will pay, Trump says in the video. And there's talk about this being a deep fake, which, kind of throws the tinfoil up there of, hey, you know what? This might be him trying to turn the MAGA people on him as well. They, parenthesis, 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 they are trying to control everything and make sure that everybody hates this guy, so they'll try and put him in prison or whatever the fuck they're going to try and do. They are going to try and get something done. But yes, as of right now, I will take this as a concession. I don't know if this was a concession or not. Then there are other people that are saying, oh, he didn't concede. He's not going to concede. He's going to hole up in there. Which, I mean, the first thing I said after I heard the speech was I got on Twitter and said, okay, who has to go and massage the mainstream media's balls because they're going to have massive blue balls over the fact they can't do the frog march and hole up in the bunker story anymore. So, let's see what some of the reaction is, starting with Newsweek. Parler users call Trump's concession video deepfake and worry he'll sell us out. From Daniel Villarreal. Commenters on the right wing of social media platform Parler have criticized President Trump's video address released on Thursday, in which he pledged legal repercussions for the rioters on the U.S. Capitol and essentially conceded the election to President-elect Joe Biden. Parler commenters called the video a deepfake, essentially a digitally manipulated imitation of Trump, and worried that Trump would sell us out or betray his supporters who raided the Capitol. In his videos, Trump said he was outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem that unfolded yesterday at the Capitol, adding, "To those who engaged in acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country, okay? And to those who broke the law, you will pay." Well, we're all going to pay. Everybody, they'll find out. I mean, the blind ballot is over. They'll find out if you voted for Trump, and you'll go to the camp where you learn how to concentrate. Trump also said that he only sought to overturn the election in his favor, to ensure the integrity of the vote, and said, "My focus now turns on ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power." Parler user Bback2 wrote, "He's leaving being the President of the United States of America and going back to be the President under the original Constitution. Going to be a glorious day." Yeah, I can imagine there was a lot of that shit on Parler. Jason wrote, "Guys, he isn't done. He's still playing chess. 4D chess, by chance. The phrase playing chess is an idiom, which means working on a long-term strategy for victory." No, it isn't. Whoever wrote this article is a fucking idiot. Echoing that statement, Brenda wrote a message in which the word God was misspelled. It said, "He has a plan here. President Trump would not back down that easily. We need to stand strong. Keep watch and pray. Something big is coming, and Gid is going to see it through." Really? Maybe she just knows somebody of Indian descent that's planning on seeing it through. The next Parler comment invoked QAnon, the right-wing conspiracy theory that alleges that Trump is going to expose a shadowy pedophiliac child molestation ring run by Democrats, don't forget satanic, Hollywood elites, and deep state federal agencies. Mad British 72 wrote, "So he has given up surrounded to the pedo. Well, he better pardon Wikipedia guys and come clean about UFOs. The Wikipedia guys might refer to WikiLeaks founder, Julian Assange, who in 2010 helped leak classified U.S. military documents, and could face up to 175 years in prison if convicted inside the United States." I'll do one more here. Mike wrote, "Yo, Trump, when are you going to lock up Hillary? You got people fired up and said that it would be wild. Why did you only have about 50 cops protecting the building if the first 500,000 were coming there? I hope you didn't sell us out." Mike's comments refers to the storming of the Capitol by pro-Trump rioters on Wednesday, the worry that Trump would sell us out, referring to allowing those who rioted in his name to face legal consequences after he encouraged them to march in the Capitol in opposition to the congressional approval of the electoral vote in favor of Joe Biden. Pretty sure he said march. I'm pretty sure he didn't say smash windows. But, hey, I wasn't with the guy. So we will see what's happening. So that's what Parler has to say, and of course, this is what Newsweek thinks of Parler, so keep in mind, and I said this about 8 times yesterday, these people in mainstream media, they fucking hate you. These people hate you. Alright, let's keep going here. This ought to be intelligent. This is from MSNBC. Why Trump's grudging concession speech was literally unbelievable. From Steve Bannon. After pleading with his followers to come to the nation's capital on January 6th for a wild confrontation, and after lying to them for months about the 2020 presidential election, Donald Trump dispatched a mob to attack Capitol Hill. The humanity! Nobody would ever dispatch a mob to go and destroy a city. What's possible here? And disrupt the certification of the incoming president. He reportedly enjoyed watching the scenes play out on television. As the attack was ongoing, the Republicans chose to make matters worse by issuing a video from the White House professing his love for the rioters, calling them very special people, and telling them just how their cause was. It's like he's doing the same thing we did all summer. How could he do this? After about 24 hours, Trump reversed course, issuing a new video in which he effectively conceded the race he lost 2 months ago. In carefully scripted remarks, he told Americans, "Now Congress has certified the results, and the new administration will be inaugurated on January 20th. My focus now turns to ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power." Let's review the many problems. Trump's video is filled with lies. In the video, the Republican claimed, "I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders." I wish that were true, but it's plainly not. What's more, in the new video, Trump condemned the insurrectionist mob as heinous and claimed to be outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem, which is the opposite of what he told the public a day earlier. Number 2, teleprompter Trump is not to be trusted. The pattern has been obvious for quite a while. Trump speaks his mind, sparks outrage, and then does damage control by reading words others put on a teleprompter for him to read. 3, it's too late. Oh, now Trump is committed to a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power. In case the Republican hasn't noticed, the transition is underway, but there's nothing smooth, orderly, or seamless about it. 4, motivations matter. Trump's video was born of panic. As his failed term nears its end, he faces a very real possibility of impeachment, being removed from office through the 25th Amendment, and possible criminal liability for inciting a riot against his own country's capital. Okay. I condemn violence in the Capitol of all kinds. I wished yesterday that they didn't break the windows, they didn't go in and take the podium, and they didn't get violent with people. I wished for that yesterday. But I understand. I don't want to see the violence. But I understand. See, 2 things can be true at once. I can understand how these people feel when people like Steve Bannon come out and say shit like this to them. When people like the young turds come out and call them stupid and maggots for voting for Trump. Where the mainstream media comes out and tells them it's hopeless, just get in line. Your secessionist dreams are stupid, and you're stupid, and all of us good, honorable blue people are taking care of you because you're too stupid to take care of yourself. If this happens, I condemn this in advance. But I'll understand, because if you think that the violence that happened on the Capitol was bad 2 days ago, you throw Trump in prison for that and see what those same people come back and do. Once you've essentially told them they have nothing left to lose, you've shut them out of their jobs, you've shut down their businesses, you've eliminated their manufacturing jobs, you've put somebody in place who stood behind the person who oversaw sending a lot of their original manufacturing jobs overseas. And they were just lucky enough in the last 3 years to get some of those manufacturing jobs back. You've taken away everything from these people, and now you want to throw their religious figurehead in prison. I disavow all violence of all types, but hey, good fucking luck. Good luck. I know nobody from msnbc is going to see this video, but I'm going to tell you right now, good luck. I hope this works out well for you. All right, let's keep going here. Dave Cicilline over on Twitter says, New, I'm circulating the articles of impeachment that Representative Ted Lieu, Representative Raskin, and I have prepared to remove President from the office following yesterday's attack on the U.S. Capitol. All right, who's this retard? Congressman for Rhode Island's 1st District, Antitrust Subcommittee Chairman. Yeah, you're going to do antitrust. From Rhode Island. Okay. Let's see if we can see some of what's going on here. Resolution, no number given here, resolved Donald Trump, President of the United States, is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, and that following the articles of impeachment to be exhibited by the United States Senate. Abuse of power. Yep, abuse of power. That's all they're going to throw at it again. They're going to throw abuse of power at him again. So let's see if this gets voted on, if this goes through, and yeah, I want to see him do it again. All right, from the Washington Post. Pelosi, Schumer call for Trump's removal. Trump acknowledges new administration. The top Democrats in Congress, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, on Thursday called for President Trump's immediate removal from office, either by his cabinet or possibly through impeachment. By inciting sedition, as he did yesterday, he must be removed for office. While there's only 13 days left, any day could be a horror show for America. I might lose my teeth, Pelosi told reporters on Capitol Hill. In the evening, Trump released a 2.5-minute video calling for tempers to cool, acknowledging there will be a new administration on January 20th, and saying he is now focused on a smooth, orderly, seamless transition of power. Serving as your president has been the honor of my lifetime, he said in a tacit acknowledgement the presidency is over. So, yeah, they're going to try and do this once again. Either get the cabinet or get the impeachment. Let's keep going. Let's hear what Nancy had to say.
Secretary of, then Attorney General Barr, do you subscribe to the presidency of Donald Trump after the act of sedition he committed yesterday? It's an ex-Postmaster General, but that's in when our founders put it together. Interior. The list goes on. Ask each member of the cabinet, do they stand by these actions? Secretary of, then Attorney General Barr.
Do they stand by these actions? I know she's always wearing the mask, so now we can't see her play with her teeth, with her tongue, and try and get them up back into place. So yeah, they're going to try and throw the 25th Amendment at this. And by the way, AG Barr is out, so I don't know who you're yelling at this point. He left right before Christmas. All right, let's keep going. Speaking of trying to silence the president here, from Axios, Twitch disables Trump's channel following chaos in D.C. Trump has a Twitch? That's news to me. From Sarah Fisher, author of The Media Trends. Twitch, the Amazon-owned live streaming video platform, disabled President Trump's account. A spokesperson confirmed to Axios on Thursday. Why it matters. The latest in a string of platform efforts to take action on Trump's accounts following his calls for violence that resulted in the historic riot at the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday. All right, I got to stop you right there, because this is new. And they've been trying to pull this shit off for the last couple days. And I'm going to tell you right now, it was probably historic that people disaffected by the results of an election descended on the U.S. Capitol. On the U.S. Capitol. It's probably historic. It's unprecedented. We probably haven't seen it since the War of 1812. But it's not new. And I've been urging people, because I listen sometimes to the AM radio on the way to work. I listen to the Dan O'Donnell show. It's usually the one that's on when I go to work, and it's only a 10-minute drive, so I don't get any crossover from any other ones. But Dan O'Donnell pointed something out, and it's been floating in the back of my mind for, since all of this started, but I didn't quite make the connection until I heard Dan say it. But yes, I remembered. It was in 2011. I said 2010 when it first started circulating in my mind, but yeah, in 2011, disaffected by the results of the election, although they didn't do it right at election time, they actually waited until he passed his signature legislation, but disaffected Union liberals in Madison went and occupied the state capitol, busted windows, had representatives cowering in their offices with the doors locked, hoping that they were going to get out of there alive. For 4 days. For 4 days, they looted. They took hard drives. They busted windows, busted the floor, and put our representatives in fear. Not their representatives, because their representatives at the time were out hiding in Illinois. Their representatives got in the car and holed up in Illinois for, I think it wound up being, 4 weeks, a month. So there couldn't be enough people present to go vote on Act 10. But yeah, when Act 10 got passed, they went through and they did the exact same thing in the Wisconsin Capitol. This is not new. In fact, all that I'm hearing from the mainstream news outlets, between the St. George riots, the St. Jacob riots, and the difference in how they covered this versus how they covered the Wisconsin riots back in 2011, was, we, as honorable Democrats, have the monopoly on protesting. You are not allowed to protest. You are the oppressor. You're not allowed to protest. We will oppress you away from protesting. So, this is not new. None of this is new. But they're going to keep trying to tell you that this is new, because it's not them doing it. Snapchat was the first to disable the president's account on Wednesday. Oh no. The president has a Snapchat. And his junk looks like the mushroom from Mario Kart. Oh no. Oh no. I can just see 1,000 ways this could go wrong. Facebook says it bans Trump account indefinitely, but at least for 2 weeks. Twitter froze Trump out of his account for breaking the platform rules and maybe ban him indefinitely if he breaks the company's rules again. YouTube said it will start applying strikes to Trump's account and other channels that post videos pushing misinformation about the election results, which is probably going to be retroactive, and that channel is going to get fucking nuked. Shopify. Well, we'll talk about that in just a second. What they're saying, in light of yesterday's shocking attack on the Capitol, we have disabled President Trump's Twitch channel, a spokesperson from Twitch told Axios. Given the current extraordinary circumstances and the president's incendiary rhetoric, we believe this is a necessary step to protect our community and prevent Twitch from being used to incite further violence. Twitch was one of the first platforms in June to temporarily ban Donald Trump's channel for hateful content about Black Lives Matter protests over the summer. So, that's what we're seeing from that. Let's see what they're talking about with Shopify. From The Verge. Shopify takes down Trump's campaign store. Shopify has taken down e-commerce sites from the Trump Organization and Trump campaign in response to Wednesday's violence at the U.S. Capitol building, the Wall Street Journal reported. Both TrumpStore.com and the Trump campaign's shop.donaldjtrump.com, which sold Make America Great Again hats and other merchandise, were both offline Thursday morning. A Shopify spokesperson told the Wall Street Journal that the company's trust and safety team had determined the president had violated the company policy against doing stuff off-site. Shopify does not tolerate the actions that go on off-site, and he hasn't actually broken any of our rules, but he's mean and he's orange, so we have to do this. Shopify is the latest platform to block or remove the president after he incited a mob attack on the U.S. Congress. Following the attack, Trump continued to tweet false claims about the November presidential election and told the rioters who attacked the Capitol building to go home, while also calling them special people. Well, some of them were special people. There are a few people out there that thought that their Glock 9 was going to take on the entirety of the U.S. National Guard. Twitter implemented a 12-hour ban late Wednesday, and on Thursday, Facebook expanded what was originally going to be a 24-hour ban into a 2-week suspension that could become permanent. That's good. Nobody likes fucking Boomer Book anyway. So yes, Shopify is gone. They're Ottawa-based. So they operate under different rules. But I'm looking at, like, okay, Twitter I understand, because if they do get the lawyers speak around to say that, well, yeah, he incited violence on our platform. He did. First off, he did it on platform. But they're selling advertisements. They're not necessarily selling a product over on Twitter. That's how they're making the money, is on advertising and selling your data to China. Same with Facebook. They're doing advertisements. They're selling your data to China. They're selling advertisements for your eyes to look at. And boosts for your social media pages. They keep trying to sell me a boost for the Ed's World social media page, and I'm not going to sell it to them because once they fucking nuke me, I don't get that money back. That's not why I'm going to boost up my Facebook page. Plus, I never do a goddamn thing with it anyway, so why the hell would I boost it? But they keep trying to sell it to me. But that's how they do that. That's how they sell their product. Places like Shopify that are taking off the top because people are rushing to Shopify to go and buy MAGA stuff, or candles, or beach towels, or whatever the fuck else you buy on Shopify. Somebody needs to remind Shopify of the rules of acquisition, which I think I'm going to see if I can do a full compilation of at some point here, because I'm getting to the end of Deep Space Nine again. But there are 243 rules of acquisition, and this move violates about 40 of them. So we will see what happens with that. Let's keep going here. From Fox. I somehow managed to have 2 Foxes in a row down here, but we'll talk a bit about that when it gets to that point. Capitol Police Chief Sund issues notice of resignation from Michael Ruiz. Capitol Police Chief Stephen Sund announced his resignation on Thursday, a day after protesters breached the Capitol, overran his officers, and prompted condemnations from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle in Washington, including a call for him to step down from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. They call for him to step down, but you notice, and here's one that I noticed when I was listening to Styx yesterday about this. They call for the defunding of your municipal police. The lawmakers call for the defunding of Minneapolis police, Chicago police, Portland police, stuff like that. They never seem to call for the defunding of the Capitol Police. Have you noticed? It's been a pleasure and a true honor to serve the United States Capitol Board and the congressional community alongside the women and men of the United States Capitol Police, he wrote. He said in the resignation would take effect on Sunday, January 16th. Funny. His resignation will take place the Sunday before the inauguration that 74 million people in this country don't want to see go through. I'm just going to start keeping a roll of tinfoil next to my desk here because I might need it at some of this. During a news conference about the charges against the rioters earlier in the day, acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Michael Sherwin, had said the Capitol Police's handling of the breach made our job more difficult. When those who broke in, weren't zip-tied as they left the building, I don't know, Sherwin said. In a statement, the D.C. Police Union, which represents the city's Metropolitan Police Department, not its counterparts on Capitol Hill, said its officers responded after Capitol Police called for backup. When we arrived, it was obvious that our fellow officers at the U.S. Capitol Police were trying valiantly to stop the onslaught of rioters, the union said. While it is unclear at this preliminary stage exactly how the building was breached so quickly, there are some reports that they let them in just so they could have the photo op and they could use that to shove more of their shove more of their ideals down on you to say, oh, well, these evil MAGA people, we need more restriction, we need more gun control, because they might try to take over the country, you guys. They might try to elect somebody else again. So there's been some talk of that too, keep in mind. That they let him in. And yeah, I could see it. It appears likely that the U.S. Capitol Police leadership was ill-prepared for this attack, both in manpower and resources. Well, that's because CNN has been telling people for the last 3 weeks, since they first started talking about the march on Washington, D.C., well, the inauguration numbers were so small. Oh, well, the Million MAGA March only had 1,000 people. You don't need to worry about this. Nobody's going to come to this. Nobody likes President Trump anymore. We've made sure of that. At least 4 people died, according to authorities. At least 4 people were killed, according to authorities. See, that's the other thing, too. If this was... And, people keep saying, well, if this was Black Lives Matter, you know what would have happened. Yeah, the media would be praising it. The media would be out there encouraging them, would be calling the Capitol Police demons. And it would have been an outright murder, in cold blood, premeditated. Every Capitol Police person would have gotten up in the morning and said, I'm going to go kill me a bunch of black people. If it had been Black Lives Matter. And this had happened. That's what would have happened. So get off your fucking soapbox and virtue signal. And stop lying to the American people. Capitol Police identified Ashley Babbitt as the person shot. She was she was a 14-year Air Force veteran from San Diego. Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a bit, too. Because the New York Post had a very, very horrible take on that. So, that's what's going on with that. Sun is out. I'm a little bit scared for the Capitol coming up on the 20th. From CNN, the FBI and DC police want the public to help identify Capitol rioters. That's right. Go tell on your neighbor. If your neighbor said that he was there, go tell on him. Go tell on your neighbor. According to CNN, from the FBI and DC police, from Paul P. Murphy. Both the FBI and Washington police are asking Americans to step up and help them identify people who participated in Wednesday's riot and insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. The FBI is seeking information that will assist in identifying individuals who are actively instigating violence in Washington, D.C., the agency said on its website. The worst part is they have no idea how close to the SS they actually are on this. That's the worst part of all of this. They think that they're doing good with this. The FBI is accepting tips in digital media depicting rioting and violence in the U.S. Capitol building and surrounding area in Washington, D.C. on January 6th of 2021. Some of the individuals that participated have already come forward or have since been identified by CNN and other news organizations. In a Thursday news conference, Washington's Metropolitan Police Department also asked the public to help identify those who may have committed crimes during Wednesday's rioting. The police department can be contacted at 202-727-9099 or by texting 50411. I completely disavow anybody sending pictures of their asshole to that text number. Don't do it. Don't send pictures of your asshole to that text number. Don't call the tip line and make obscene sexual noises into the phone. Don't do anything like that. I completely disavow that, okay? You can't do anything like that. That's a horrible thing to do. To submit videos or photos of the riot to the FBI, click here to go to the fbi.gov/US Capitol. I completely disavow, and I think that you should not send pictures of your penis to this website. You should not do that. That's an absolutely horrible thing to do. To submit information to the FBI, call 1-800-CALL-FBI, 1-800-225-5324, or click here to go to tips.fbi.gov. And you should absolutely not make obscene prank phone calls to this number. You absolutely 100% should. Actually, you probably shouldn't do it on that one because they could probably find a way to trace that one. You maybe shouldn't do it to that one because I don't believe FBI has anything anonymous. Maybe we should back off on that one. Let's keep going. From CBS News, Education Secretary Betsy DeVos resigns in the wake of Capitol assault. From Sarah Lynch Baldwin, Carolyn Linton, and Melissa Quinn. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos announced her resignation Thursday night in the wake of the assault on the U.S. Capitol. She said in her resignation letter to President Trump that there is no mistaking the impact your rhetoric had on the situation, and it is the inflection point for me. Well, that's all well and good. I've been wanting the Education Secretary to resign for, well, since she came in. But I want the position to go away. I don't want there to be another education secretary. You can do a good thing, but know that somebody else is going to do a bad thing in your wake. DeVos, who is one of the highest ranking officials to resign, insisted in her letter that history... Why the hell is the education secretary? Which is not supposed to exist in the first place. Why is that such a high position? Oh, we got a follow over there. I thought maybe there was a lemon I had to acknowledge. Insisted in her letter that history will show we were correct in our repeated urging of and support for schools reopening this year and getting all of America's students back to learning. But, she said, impressionable children are watching the riots at the Capitol, and we each have a moral obligation to exercise good judgment and model the behavior we hope they would emulate. Her resignation came hours after Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao, the wife of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, announced her resignation. Effective Monday, Chao and DeVos are both members of Mr. Trump's cabinet, and President-elect Joe Biden had already announced his choices to replace them. We want to go live in private life. The following have also resigned: Stephanie Grisham, Chief of Staff to the First Lady; Sarah Matthews, Deputy Press Secretary; Ricky Nacito, Social Secretary; Matthew Pottinger, Deputy National Security Advisor; Mick Mulvaney; John Costello, Deputy Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Intelligence and Security. Why are there this many people in the executive staff? Mick Mulvaney, Special Envoy to Northern Ireland; Tyler Goodspeed, CEA Acting Chairman; Ryan Tully, NSC Senior Director for European and Russian Affairs. So, yes, people are going in and resigning left and right. From CNBC, federal prosecutors doesn't rule out charging Trump for inciting the Capitol riot. From Dan Mangan. Yeah, I told you what's going to happen if you do this. And all I'm going to do is get a big fucking tub of popcorn and watch. I'm not going to go down. I'm going to get on this microphone and I'm going to say, guys, stop breaking windows, and then just start eating out of the tub of popcorn. If you do this. The top federal prosecutor in Washington, D.C. on Thursday pointedly did not rule out charging President Trump in connection with inciting a riot after his supporters invaded the U.S. Capitol complex a day earlier. Acting U.S. Attorney Michael Sherwin said the Department of Justice will consider lodging criminal charges against anyone who played a role in the riot, which for hours delayed the confirmation by Congress of Joe Biden's election as the next president. A reporter during the press call noted that Trump had called on his supporters at a rally before the riot to fight for him. Asked if he was eyeing Trump's role in sparking the chaos, Sherwin said, "I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we're looking at all actors here. Anyone who had a role where the evidence fits a crime," he said. Do it. Do it. Because I want to see the aftermath of this. I want to see what happens when, for the first time, a new incoming president goes after a departing president. Not just talks about it. I want to see what happens when it actually happens. All of the norms have been broken at this point. I mean, there's a reason that President Trump didn't lock her up, in spite of the fact that he probably should have, because there is an understanding with all of this. But yes, turn this completely nakedly political and see what happens. Because that's all that this is right now, is nakedly political. So, let's see what happens with that. From Fox News, Tomi Lahren scolds Capitol rioters as anarchist animals. Have you lost your damn mind? From Yale Halon. Fox host Tomi Lahren issued a scathing condemnation of Wednesday's violence on Capitol Hill, taking direct aim at the anarchist animals, who left her appalled, disgusted, and sick to my stomach. I never thought I'd see the day when some Trump supporters, many who I thought were my fellow patriots, would act like the very thugs and anarchists they've spent much of the year condemning, Lahren said on her Fox Nation show, Final Thoughts. Whether it was Antifa or leftist agitators sprinkling in, or truly just angry Trump supporters, I'm appalled and disgusted by your behavior. Lahren, an outspoken Trump supporter, told viewers that she supports peaceful protest against what I too believe was a fraudulent election. I'm not disappointed in you for your anger, your passion, or your frustration. I'm right there with you on all of that. But, she added, I'm beyond disappointed that the very people who proclaim to respect each other, respect law enforcement, and respect basic decency would act in that manner. That is not what this movement is about. That's not what Donald Trump stands for, and that's not how conservatives behave. Have you lost your damn mind? She continued. Yes, she is more in favor of the boring, court jester, neocon establishment that's going to come out and say nice things about country music every once in a while, continue to give billions of dollars in kickbacks to Walmart so they can go and get their cheap Chinese stuff, meanwhile putting them big city factory folks out of work. Tommy's an idiot. I'm sorry. I got another one right back to back with it from Fox News, which I try not to do, but I took something out of the stack, and that's how that happened. Coverage of Capitol protests by mainstream media called out compared to months of anti-police violence. From Brian Flood. The media went out of its way in 2020 to paint sometimes violent protests across the nation as mostly peaceful, but finally came around on Wednesday to the notion that mayhem and anarchy is always unacceptable. All it took was Trump supporters causing the chaos to spark a swift change of heart. It's not hard to find prominent voices on the left who are suddenly finding lawlessness inexcusable after suggesting it was excusable if it forwarded their agenda. They use words like rebellion to glamorize the unrest, Media Research Center executive editor Tim Graham told Fox News. Washington, D.C. police said late Wednesday that the security breach at the U.S. Capitol resulted in 4 deaths, including a woman who had been shot, and at least 52 arrests, Robert J. Conti III. The city's top cop said 2 pipe bombs were recovered earlier, one located outside the RNC and one outside the DNC. Police said they also found a cooler from a vehicle that had a long gun and Molotov cocktails on the Capitol grounds. At least 6 firearms were recovered, in addition to 3 recovered last night, as well as a stun gun, authorities said. The tragic scene had been widely condemned by just about anyone with a public platform. A stark difference to how last summer's protests over police brutality were reported. Last year, MSNBC anchor Ali Velshi, who was reporting live from Minneapolis following the death of St. George, told viewers that the situation was not generally speaking unruly while standing in front of a burning building. ABC News was criticized in July for describing California protests that featured demonstrators setting fire to a courthouse, vandalizing a police station, and shooting fireworks at police officers as peaceful. CBS Evening News anchor Norah O'Donnell said mostly peaceful protests would cost about $1 billion to $2 billion in claims as a result of damage from looting and arson. And CNN's Omar Jimenez was famously reporting live in front of a raging fire amid Kenosha, Wisconsin chaos, and the chyron at the bottom of the screen read fiery but mostly peaceful protests after police shooting. CNN's Chris Cuomo even asked the viewers, "Please show me where it says that protesters are supposed to be polite and peaceful. But the CNN host felt differently on Wednesday. Protesters use speech, angry, not peaceful, often outrage, cursing, and that is protected. Sedition is not, okay? Criminality is not. These were mobs that trashed the Capitol and got light treatment for it. And that's where we are. And it's ugly, Cuomo tweeted. So, that's what Fox News has to say about this. Matt Walsh had more to say about this, which I thought was very interesting off this. And I mean, I don't usually care for Walsh, but when he hits one on the nose, he hits ones on the nose. Democrats and media want us to forget that they encouraged rioting for months. We shouldn't. It is being demanded that we view yesterday's events in D.C. as they occurred without precedent, in a vacuum, nothing of relevance preceding them. Right-wing Trump supporters stormed the Capitol building, vandalized, fought with police, wreaked havoc, and there was no catalyst for it. Any of it. No underlying reason other than Donald Trump and his incitement. That is how we are meant to see it. But what if we see it that way? Whatever lessons we take from this week will be the wrong ones. We do not need to widen our lens very much to see that the rioting and violence on Capitol Hill this week happened after many months of violent left-wing riots, all of which were defended, even romanticized by prominent voices in the media and government. It is not whataboutism to point this out, but they'll tell you that it is. It is not whataboutism to observe that this latest bit of chaos did not erupt in a void, mysteriously disconnected from all events that came before it. The simple fact is that left-wing mobs spent the entire summer and much of the fall raining chaos on our cities, and leaving burning buildings, looted stores, and dead bodies in their wake. They did this in D.C. as well, multiple times, in fact, over the summer. And the aerial shots of the city after the protests looked like something out of Baghdad in 2003. It is argued that BLM riots were a different sort of thing because, for one, the rioters were not fueled by conspiracy theories, but by valid concerns over police brutality. Also, as the argument goes, they were targeting private businesses and not government buildings. Of course, both of these arguments are widely off base. I'm not convinced that any rioter, whether the ones this summer or those in the Capitol yesterday, are motivated by anything other than a savage desire to destroy purely for the thrill of it. Plus, I would argue that there is conspiracy. I will go along with Matt's point and say there was a lot of conspiracy theory that went along with fueling the Black Lives Matter riots. You know, like police are in a conspiracy to go and eliminate the black race. You know, that conspiracy was floating around this summer. So, yeah, right there. For example, the rioters in Kenosha claimed that Jacob Blake was murdered in cold blood while unarmed and attempting to break up a fight between two neighbors. In reality, he was armed, wanted on a felony warrant for sexual assault and other crimes, allegedly harassing a woman who had a restraining order against him, and in the process of assaulting the police and resisting arrest. This is the way it always goes. The BLM radicals take real incident and fabricate it, an entire story around it, totally unconcerned with whether the story bears any resemblance to the truth or not. If you say the rioters in D.C. were hopped up on falsehoods and conspiracy theories, you must say the same about BLM or Antifa. And yet, they won't. Alright, I got just a few more here, then we will do the names of everybody who chatted. So, if you're lurking, by the way, I've got the names of everybody throughout the week here. I got a bunch of new names on here, so you guys are... I'm looking forward to saying some new names here, but make sure if you're lurking right now, you get your name in the chat so I can go back and read it. And if you say something sufficiently stupid in the live chat, I'll even read that on the air too. But it's got to be sufficiently stupid so you raise the intellectual level of this program. Let's keep going. From the New York Post. Ashley Babbitt was once hit with property destruction charges. We're going to fucking do this. From Craig McCarthy and Laura Italiano. Ashley Babbitt, the pro-Trump rioter, shot dead while trying to breach the barricaded House chambers, has been accused, then found not guilty of reckless endangerment, malicious destruction of property, and tampering with a car in 2016. I thought Candace Owens went to work for the Daily Wire. I didn't realize she went to go and work for the New York Post. The 14-year Air Force vet was prosecuted under her previous name of McKentry, according to court documents from Calvert County, Maryland, where she lived at the time. The Maryland Public Court record shows police found probable cause for the string of charges, which are not described but were somehow connected to a traffic case, the records show. 2 restraining orders had been issued at the time, but appear to be separate from the criminal case. Okay, just like I said, when Candace Owens comes out and doxes somebody like George Floyd, just like I said, when Candace Owens comes out and doxes somebody like Jacob Blake, like Anthony Huber, like Gage Grosskreutz, when they come out and dox these records for people who either get killed in police custody or other custody as well, when they come out and just release this out here, that's all well and good. And it does show a little bit of character, but it has nothing to do with the situation at hand. A guy can be driving down the road, and this can actually happen, by the way. A guy can be driving down the road, gets pulled over for a broken taillight, puts his hands on the wheel, does everything wrong, or does everything right, by the way, reaches for his wallet, pulls it out, while arguing with the police officer, like, come on, man, I'm late for work and everything. The police officer looks up, sees a glint of something, says gun, pulls out his gun and shoots the guy, dead in the head. And then Candace Owens can come out and say, oh, well, this one time he jaywalked. Hey, this one time he got aggressive with a banker. Hey, he had to spend the night in for drunk and disorderly one time. He was really a bad dude, and the cop was justified for killing him. People like that exist, and this is what's happening with this New York Post thing. They're trying to retcon this to try and make it look like this was a bad person. This is bad. This is fucking wrong. The only situation when somebody dies from a police incident is what is happening in the immediate incident. Everything else is in the past. You can't go back and change that. And people sometimes will go back and lead completely different lives. And even if the guy is strung out so hard on fentanyl that he's crying mama on the ground, what he did 10 years ago has no bearing on the incident that's happening at that moment. Once you have paid your debt to society, your crime is done at that point. All right, from the Daily Wire. I just saw courage personified. GOP reps praise for defending the Capitol. From Hank Berrien. According to the Texas GOP Congressman Pat Fallon, while the rest of Congress was being evacuated to safety during the riot at the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday, 4 freshman Republican Texas congressmen remained behind, along with 2 others from Colorado and Oklahoma, to aid police and secure the barricades to the House door. Fallon wrote on Facebook in the midst of the turmoil, I just saw courage personified. We were in the middle of a debate when the Capitol Police came into the chamber and told us that there had been a breach in the Capitol building. At first, they wanted us to remain in our seats in the House chamber. The breach must have gotten worse because they started to evacuate. Then the mob literally reached the doors of the House chamber, and the police were shorthanded. I am so proud that Rep. Tony Gonzalez, Ronnie Jackson, Troy Nels didn't hesitate. We augmented the police and stood our ground. We will never be intimidated by any mob, regardless of their motivations. Yeah, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because this is somebody who's taken 2 of his ribs out and now he's leaning down and sucking his own dick for how courageous he was. Which there is courage to that as well, but don't grandstand about it. Don't grandstand about it. All right. From Politico. We're finally done with the election stuff and the riot stuff. Got just a couple more to do here. Biden chooses Boston Mayor Walsh as Labor Secretary. Mayor Walsh is a union guy, by the way. From Eleanor Mueller and Tyler Pager. President-elect Joe Biden has picked Boston Mayor Marty Walsh, a former top union leader, to serve as labor secretary, according to 4 sources, ending a selection process that split the labor movement and stoked diversity concerns among Democrats. Walsh beat out a host of other names floated for the position, including Representative Andy Levine, former Deputy Labor Secretary Seth Harris, California Labor Secretary Julia Su, AFL-CIO Chief Economist Bill Spriggs. His selection suggests that Biden was willing to overlook the calls for a more diverse choice, since Walsh is a white man, and an Asian American and Pacific Islanders have been lobbying heavily for Su. Spriggs is black. Yes. Your qualifications, which I'm not sure that Marty Walsh has any qualifications for this position either, but your qualifications are much less important than the color of your skin. But that's not racist by any stretch of the imagination. We're going to identify everybody by their skin color and their worth based on their skin color, but it's not racist. So we will see what happens off of that. And the last one that I have for today comes from ABC News. The Boston Marathon bomber sues over ball cap, showers in prison. From the AP. Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Sarnev has sued the federal government for $250,000 over his treatment at the Colorado prison where he is serving a life sentence. Sarnev, 26, calls his treatment in the handwritten suit filed Monday unlawful, unreasonable, and discriminatory. He cites the confiscation of a white baseball cap and a bandana he bought at the prison commissary, and a limit of 3 showers per week, the Boston Herald reported. His treatment at the Supermax Federal Correctional Facility, Florence, is contributing to his mental and physical decline, he says in the lawsuit. Well, maybe you shouldn't have killed a whole bunch of people. And you should probably thank God that you're not the girlfriend right now. Because you're kind of a wiry, skinny dude. The lawsuit has been assigned to a judge, according to court records. The judge said Tuesday the filing is deficient because it does not include a certified copy of the prisoner's trust fund statement, and a $402 filing fee. Yeah, this isn't going to go anywhere. It's not. It's funny that he's going to try, and he's going to do it over a hat. $250,000 over a hat. Dude, you killed people. Should be glad that you weren't executed for it. And I know some of these Boston Irish dudes. You should be glad that they didn't get their hands on you. Because they probably would have fucked you up. If not killed you themselves. Which I completely disavow. Alright, and that's going to be it for the news here. The last thing that we do on a Friday is read and thank everybody who chatted in the live chat throughout the week here. I'll give you guys a chance, if you're lurking, to get those last minute messages in. But for right now, we have on Monday on the list. On Monday, we had Flancorp, we had Jessica Green, we had Quest Fanning, we had Ron Helton, we had Stephen Ignoramus. Monday was a little bit of a slow day. We had a busy day yesterday. Definitely did. On Tuesday, we had Ron Helton, Stephen Ignoramus, Chalaga 1984. I had a YT, probably Thomas on YouTube. Mad Cow Mark showed up, and Saint rounded out Tuesday. On Wednesday, we had a Chalaga 1984, Ron Helton. Silent Caster came in and hung out with us. Tygar 84X, Quest Fanning, Tails 303, who's joined me in another Discord server before. He pops in every once in a while. And he used to do like Shredder and Crusher videos. They were pretty cool. I don't know why he stopped. They were kind of cool to watch. And you know, what happens if you throw a cell phone through an industrial shredder? It was calming. I like machinery stuff. Nephilim Ninja was here, and 13 FT Handman. I'm sorry, not 13. That was L3 FT Handman. I'm guessing that is left-hand man. Yesterday, we had Ron Helton, Chalaga 1984. Set of a Cantus Bear came and hung out with us. X322X. Threw us a conspiracy theory about Antifa at some of the demonstrations. Nailbender was here. Team Cobra Kai came and hung out with us. Flancorp came in, our resident progressive, and tried to show us the error of our ways. Silent Castro was here, and Quest Fanning filled that day out. Today, I know I had one follow here. Let me see if I can scroll up on my tablet and see it. We had Silky Bacon just followed, so thank you for that. Let's see, who else do we have? Let's get up to the top here. On the top, we have Ron Helton, Chalaga 1984. They want Trump to leave before the fraud is announced. This is a stolen election. A silent caster says Orange Man bad. Maybe then they can bring back the MicronPC.com bowl game. Always made me LOL. I don't know what that is. You'll have to link that to me in the Discord. Let's see who else is here. Stephen Ignoramus is here. One of the greatest dudes in the world, and the guy that helped me crash the Freedom Scoop website. Yeah, Stephen says he's heard reports this may be deepfake too. There can be no peace, as the alien said on Independence Day. Welcome to Earth. Some New World Order talk. Definitely going on there. Worship of the state is worship of Satan. Lizards have teeth. I'll have you know, I'm a real woman, and lizards can't eat $70 a pint ice cream, okay? Out of a $10,000 freezer. Did Tim Pool get banned or just suspended? I'm not aware of that. I don't know. I listen to his audio podcast. I don't ever watch his YouTube, so I don't know if he is banned or suspended. I will look into that. Sorry, I have to feign ignorance on that one. Slap Weasel's here. How we doing, Slap Weasel? I think everyone should boycott these companies that want to pick and choose their customers. It's not a bad idea. F Hollywood and Disney. Capitol Police are feds. That's true. They are. They're employees of the federal government. 14-year or 16-year, they can't make up their mind. No, they cannot. DC is about to become Fortress DC like it was during the Civil War. Probably fact check true. Amazingly, the FBI is now on the job. Where the hell have they been the last 4 years? They could have ended Russiagate and the election. Would be awful to send the wrong pictures to that number. Who would do that? I completely disavow that, and you should never ever send a picture of your penis to the FBI or an anonymous tip line. You should never do something like that. I disavow. Chilaga acknowledging Silky Bacon, which I don't see a name chat in there from that guy, but thanks for the follow anyway. Ron assumed that DeVos was there to dismantle the Department of Education. Nope. Expand, expand, expand. Wish DeVos would retire the entire Department of Education and take it with her. Yup. The Department of Education has a SWAT team. Never forget. I did not know that. It makes sense. They're part of the executive branch, which is the chief law enforcement agency of the country. So it makes sense, but I didn't know that. Tell me the main squeeze of the great Chilaga quarterback, Jay Cutler. Now, I don't do NFL right now because of the St. George stuff, so I'll take your word for it. I'm proud that I've not watched a single NFL game this year. Boycotting the companies that want to pick and choose their customers, just like you guys said. Left a comment on Jimmy Fallon's video and put the blame squarely on the left, the media, and the entertainment industry for this divide. Watch feckless Congress award themselves a Medal of Honor. They suck. Why don't you tell us how you really feel, Ron? Oh, Neff. Oh, Neff. Neff under his J. Edgar's used tampon screen name because I said I talked about banning him over on Steven's Discord server for obscene DLive names. MicronPC.com bowl game was a college football game that was eliminated after the 2000.com crash. I guess I'll look into it. Next, they'll be sporting military uniforms with all kinds of gaudy medals. Yup. Read my stupid comment. It contains the word stupid. Well, he gets around it somehow here. Nephilim Ninja says, did someone pee in Tim's pool? I've found no idea. I have no memory of the Wisconsin State Capitol thing from 2011. Yes, it came about because of Act 10. Nephilim Ninja's here, and he's got a wave, and we just hit 100 messages. And that's going to be it for the day. So, as of right now, I couldn't pull any guests together. I wanted to do it across the board, talking about this week's violence, but I couldn't get a panel together this week. So, as of right now, there is no Saturday show. So, we'll be back here on Monday for more contemporary and the Red Net Show, which I've got a funny meme. I've got a couple funny memes to start that show with on the Red Net Show. So, but we will be business as much as we possibly can on Monday, because we are going to need every available second to talk about all the shit that happened this week. So, come on in, tune in. We're going to have a show that day with my wonderful co-host Elaine, who I'm sure is all eager to talk about what happened this week over in the Capitol in Georgia. It's going to be all of that, and we will see what they try to burn down over the weekend. So, we'll see you then. Until then, I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary.